morning, welcome to Frank's School. This is the 7th year, the 20th day, first video. Technically I'm on sabbatical, Professor Emeritus, but at the moment I'm just doing videos pretty often. The weather is such outside. It's cold, it's windy, it's sleet, snow, ice. It's just not a good time to be working outside. And so in a way it kind of fits. I'm going to keep erasing stuff as I go because it makes it easy for me. But that's an explanation of why I'm doing this stuff. It'll be quite different when I go out there and actually do it. It's waiting for me. But in the meantime, I can offer you some ideas and maybe I'll get some feedback that would help. This is my attempt to draw a palette. This is an upside down palette, so that would be the top decking, which is not solid decking, but it's more frequent than the bottom decking, but you see it's flipped over. And this is the the dam. These are stringers. The X shows that you're looking on end. And this isn't quite the way I do the ridge, but I drew in a block there to show that this would be kept from falling down that way. It's not quite the way I do it, but otherwise the drawing would be maybe a little alarming. All right, so what to put in there as soil? Well, I said plugs. It's a little hard to draw this, but there are gaps underneath the stringers. So water will drain unless it's really plugged up, but the soil might slide out through there either. Now this is over the impermeable layer. The impermeable layer and my discussion of whether or not to use that bale net, blanket sheets, you could use all kinds of things that might encourage the roots to spread out and especially to go over the top. I discussed that in the last video. These are follow-ups. But now I'm turning to the soil. Well, yeah, I don't want the soil to run out. If you put sand there, it would run right out. You know the way sand is. Well, maybe you don't, but so I might need to use something there as a sort of a plug, but a plug that's able to let stuff through. 2B is a kind of crushed limestone. It's pretty coarse, and I'm thinking it might be sharp enough that it could cause an issue with the plastic. 1B is ground finer, is crushed finer, and I think it would hold. I'm almost certain it would hold. I hear my dog barking, I may have to interrupt. Dust is really fine, and by itself it would probably run out. But anyway, those can be put in here. At first, to deal with maintaining drainage, but keeping the rest from going on. Peat ground bark is pretty coarse. That maybe could be what I would use. I'd have to actually try it, but it might. I could maybe start with that. Mulch, you buy that by the pickup truck load. They call it mulch. What it is it's pallets that's ground up, and then a magnet pulls the steel out. Peat moss. I'm reluctant a little bit about peat moss because I question where is that coming from? Is that a limited resource, non-renewable? Not sure. Mushroom dirt, they call it. That's pretty fine stuff, but you can get it by the pickup truck. I don't know how it would go. Potting soil. You can actually get a bale of potting soil, which is already pre-mixed. And speaking about mixing, now I had worried about all the hard labor of mixing this stuff, like in a mortar box or something. Now I'm thinking, no, let the roots choose. Do it as layers. Don't mix. Now the very top is going to have to offer some kind of a seed bed unless you use a plug. My dog's going to wake up my son. I've got goat manure. I've got lots of that. Now that's pretty fine, and it would work. Wood ashes, lots of it. Mine spoil. This area is I am going to stop. I'll interrupt and start again in a moment. I think I can just edit that period out. I had to go let my dog back in. I didn't want to be quite so rushed with this. The mine spoil is not topsoil. It's this area. This was iron mined extensively, and so topsoil has been tremendously disrupted. I've talked about this elsewhere a lot. There was a village here. It was abandoned. It was bulldozed. But the mine spoil is sort of available in banks of it. It would be very coarse. I could get it, but to be the soil itself and sediment, I can actually. I've got a way to catch. I have caught sediment that the rain has washed down. Each year I could catch that. I have a spot where I can catch that. So those are available. Now, once, let me jump over here. Containers. Now, I showed that the plastic containers could sit there, you know, using up old plastic that nobody wants. That would, with a hole in the bottom, so it wouldn't just fill full of water and drown the plant. But anyway, that the plants are going to grow plumb if they're put in there. But this would also have the effect of extending out that area for holding the soil. That's why I put it there. Containers, that possibility is certainly there. And they could be then lifted out and dumped, you know, once the root gets established. Probably that's what I would do. I don't know. It would be a progression, another thing too. I mean, this is not, I've now got a pretty good book. I showed it in an earlier video on living roofs. Small living roofs. And they discuss in detail the plants that they use and the history of it, how it worked over 5 years or something. And they develop over time. This would not just be a single planting and there it is. And I've even thought that maybe the thing to do is just seed it with grass, like a lawn, grass seed, just to get, to start a sod on there and then work after that. Not sure about that, but I do want to point out that it would be a progression. I'm certainly going to learn. And with what I learned about this danger to insects, I think there's a lot of reason to make this as diverse an environment as possible. Polyculture, not one single brome grass scattered all over everything, but a mix, maybe wildflower mix or something, I don't know. The plants is something that I'll address later, and maybe soon, I don't know. But polyculture, that means it's not just one species, but a bunch. Another thing, microclimates. Well, here would be a different climate from there. Here would be a different climate because of the depth of soil, the shade, you know, there would be various, and say this is the south, well this is going to be much sunnier in the winter anyway than this side. So a lot of reason to have a lot of diversity on a living roof. There's the question of flammability too, and that'll send me back over here. Once the soil is there, once I've started, I've also got the possibility of covering it with hay. I've got a lot of old hay, and it wouldn't be like thatching. Thatching is to make the water run off. This hay could be there scattered any old way. Burlap is another thing I've got. Well, you can buy it. You can buy a lot of this stuff, but I have a lot of burlap around. I could lay that across there too. One comment said, what about in drought times and it gets windy? Won't it all just blow off? I think I can resist that. And another thing too, I didn't draw, maybe I should try to draw this. There will actually be a fence, a low fence on the end, only about 8 inches high. And on that fence, I had tried to explain this earlier. I really can't draw it. But on that fence can be rails with the point is this whole surface can be covered with plastic. So burlap, and then finally flammability. If I covered it with hay, thatch roofs are very flammable. And you know, if I get a whole long fence of this covered with hay and it would catch fire either for some reason or other, it could burn quick, although it would burn up and maybe off. But what happened in London in 1666 is memorable because the whole city had been thatched basically at that time. All right, I guess that's enough for now.